Muhammad tells his followers what Satan looks like in Ibn Ishaq, page 243. The apostle said, "Whoever wants to see Satan, let him take a look at Nabtal ibn al-Harith. He was a sturdy black man with long flowing hair, inflamed eyes, and dark ruddy cheeks." So, whenever you see a sturdy black man with long flowing hair, inflamed eyes, and dark ruddy cheeks, you're seeing someone who looks like Satan. This means, of course, that according to Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, Satan is black, not red.
Assalamu alaikum and hello to my non-Muslim viewers. David Wood, the same David Wood who tried to kill his father with a hammer and was put into a mental hospital by his mother, says that the Prophet Muhammad said that Satan is black, and the source he cites for that, or the Prophet Muhammad said that Satan is a black man, and the source he cites for that specific saying or that specific story is this book, Sirat Rasulullah, a translation of Ibn Ishaq's Sirat Rasulullah, the life of Muhammad. So, I looked into that narration again, found in Ibn Ishaq's book, and I couldn't find a reliable chain of transmission or a reliable isnad for that story. So that story can be, tossed out. So who is Satan in Islam? Satan is an invisible being. So we don't know what Satan looks like because there's a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, and I'll post the reference below, where the Prophet Muhammad said that Satan flows in mankind's blood. So what that means is that Satan is invisible. Satan isn't, specific color. Satan's not like white, black, Asian, Arab, Indian, Iranian, etc., etc. We don't know what Satan looks like because it's an invisible being according to Islam. According to Islam, it's an unseen, it's an invisible being. So in a world where God exists and in a world where the supernatural exists, Satan can be an invisible force. So we don't know what Satan looks like according to authentic Islamic sources. Well, what about racism in Islam? There's no such thing as racism in Islam. So the Prophet Muhammad said that there's no such thing as superiority over an Arab over a non-Arab, or a non-Arab over an Arab. And this is found in Musnad Ahmad Hadith number 2200 and 22,391, and Hadith scholar Shuaib al-Nurat declared this Hadith to be authentic. And the Prophet Muhammad also said in Sunan Abu Dawud 5116 that everybody is the son of Adam, and Adam came from dust. And Prophet Muhammad said that people should stop boasting about their ancestors. So, and the Prophet Muhammad said all mankind or all humankind is from Adam, and Adam came from dust. So what that means is that in Islam there's no such thing as racial purity. There's no such thing as Arabs are superior, or Iranians are superior, or white people are superior. There's no racial superiority in Islam. Everybody's equal, because according to Islamic theology, and to a lesser extent, according to biblical theology, mankind comes from Adam and Eve. So Jews, Christians, and Muslims believe in Adam and Eve. So, according to Islam, all mankind is the same, because all mankind goes back to Adam and Eve, and Adam came from dust. And so there's no such thing as racism or racial purity in Islam. So I just want to clear that up. So that notion or that saying that David would say is that Prophet Muhammad said that Satan is from a black man. Again, it comes from this source, a translation of Ibn Ishaq Sirat Rasulullah by By Ehteshaam Gulam, and there's no isnad, or there's no reliable chain of transmission for it. So that story can be tossed out. So the Prophet Muhammad never said that Satan is a black man, according to authentic Islamic sources. That saying of the Prophet Muhammad is from this book is a false saying. There's no isnad, or there's no chain of transmission for it. So if there's no chain of transmission for it, we Muslims can, toss it out. We can, toss it out the window. So that story So that saying of the Prophet Muhammad is nonsense. It's garbage anyway. So it's not true. Prophet Muhammad never said that Satan is a black man, according to authentic Islamic sources. And Ibn Ishaq is not an authentic Islamic source. So there's no racism in Islam. In Islam, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, or none of that matters. In Islam, as long as you're a pious Muslim, that's what matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, where you come from or what your lineage is. None of that, matters in Islam. So I just wanted to clear that up. Another video he made was, there is a recent video where he made saying that the Prophet Muhammad had dreams of a black woman, and that black woman would go around Medina, and that symbolized disease, and that symbolizes disease in Medina, and he cites this from this authentic hadith in al-Tirmidhi. So I looked into so if you read the hadith commentaries, and David Wood doesn't bother checking hadith commentaries. If you check the hadith commentaries, it's just a metaphor. So when the Prophet Muhammad saying it's a black woman, it's a metaphor for, like, it doesn't necessarily mean black people are represented in negative fashion in Islam. It's just a metaphorical saying or doing, because you can flip this around too, because David Wood's a New Testament believing, he's a Bible believing Christian, right? So in the New Testament, in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, Gentiles are dogs and pigs. So you can say, well, Jesus is discriminating against non-Jews. And Jesus also says in the Gospel of Matthew, I've been sent to the lost sheep of Israel. And I'm going to be posting the New Testament verses below. So Jesus, according to the New Testament, is a Jewish supremacist. He didn't want to heal the Canaanite woman, and he said that it's not proper to serve the dogs or the Gentile dogs or whatever. So basically, Jesus is promoting Jewish supremacy. He's saying, well, these Canaanites and these Romans and these non-Jews, I haven't been sent to help them. And Jesus also says, I've been sent to the lost sheep of Israel. So what does that tell you? It tells you that according to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was a racist. He was a Jewish supremacist. He didn't care about the Romans or the Canaanites, or so you can say, well, Jesus is a Jewish supremacist. So you can flip this argument back at him because he's a Bible-believing Christian. If he was an atheist, these arguments would kind of make more sense. But since he's a Bible-believing Christian, you can throw Bible verses back at him. So this is kind of like inconsistency on his part. But finding a consistent Christian is like finding a logical Trump supporter. It's just not going to happen. That's why I gave up. That's why I gave up trying to reason with David Wood and Abdullah Samir and stuff like that, because there's no logic and reasoning there. They're just using inconsistent arguments and emotional and subjective arguments against Islam. So this really is not a way. This is not a good. It's not a good use of my time engaging with this type of nonsense. But this was a very easy point to refute. That's why I'm refuting his video. So that's all I want to say about this whole thing. I think the reason why I'm making videos against black people in Islam or whatever is because it's February, and February is Black History Month. So he's trying to demonize Islam. Well, you can demonize the New Testament too, because there's racial superiority in the New Testament. For example, Jesus says, "I've only been sent to the lost sheep of Israel," and of course he at first refused to heal the Canaanite woman. So you can say, well, this is racism in the New Testament, because Jesus, according to the Gospel of Matthew, is a Jewish supremacist, right? He wants, he's using racist terminology, saying, I've been sent to the lost sheep of Israel, and it's not good to take children's bread and toss it to the dogs. And in other words, Jesus didn't want to help Gentiles and stuff like that at first. And he says stuff like, I've been sent to the lost sheep of Israel, and things like that. And he calls so you can toss this argument back at him. So that's all I want to say about this specific issue. There's no racial superiority in Islam. In Islam, everybody's equal according to the Hadith and according to the Quran. And a good Quranic verse to cite would be the Quran chapter 59, verse 12 to 13, where Allah says in the Quran that all mankind, we've created you from different tribes and nations to know each other, and that the best person in the sight of Allah is the most pious, is the most righteous. So what the Quran chapter 49, verse 12 to 13 is saying is that mankind is equal. There's no racial superiority in Islam. Arab isn't better than a black isn't better than Arab, white isn't better than everybody else. Everybody's equal in Islam, and the only thing Allah cares about is if you're a good, pious Muslim. It doesn't matter your outward appearance. It doesn't matter if you're from India, or Europe, Africa, Eastern Europe, the Middle East, Iran, China. If you're American or not, or if you're Canadian, none of that matters. It matters the only thing that matters is if you're a pious Muslim. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And so hopefully this video helps in clarifying this issue about race and black people in Islam and stuff like that. Okay, and that's all I want to say. Thanks a lot.